turn yourselves into a greasy spot on a country road somewhere, go right ahead. I don't give a shit, and I don't think anybody else does, regardless what they say to your face.
Hey, Lori, what in the hell are you doing in there? Is she gonna ride with you?
Mind your own business, John.
Yeah, she's going with me. You take care of yourself, man.
She was in a band rubber and making motors blow. So what the school asked her just how fast she liked to go. She said, how many cube catches you got where it counts? I told her 125 and she broke my motor mounts. She's a hot rod whore. Hot rod whore. Hot rod whore. Hot rod whore. Hot rod ain't enough for her. She didn't stay up for. She's a hot rod whore. Hot rod whore. Hot rod whore. Hot rod whore. And I'm in my rod to pose. She's a hot rod whore. In the bag, she's hot rod whore, hot rod whore, hot rod whore, hot rod whore. She don't need to know your son, just your token power. She's hot rod whore, hot rod whore, hot rod whore, hot rod whore. They're shining my rods up doors. She's a hot rod whore.
Yeah, cutting that early. I want to cut it right around there. I just have to redo the whole intro. Welcome everybody to Jeff's Garage. We are live on Facebook. 2 different YouTube channels, the Nonsensical Network YouTube channel, and of course, Jeff's Garage YouTube channel. And then we are also live on Twitch. Welcome, everybody. I have, as always, my supercar guru in the house. What's up, buddy? How you doing, Benji?
I am fantastic. How are you?
Oh, it's last night. I was telling the guys last night after the show, I don't know how Glick hosts a show for 6 hours at a time. And I hate to give him that fucking props, because it's not easy, but it pisses me off that I have to give him the props. It's not easy, so I give him the props that are deserved.
Sure,
but
I completely get it. That's why I don't participate on Saturdays anymore, because
I get it.
It's a marathon, and I'm just
like,
not interested.
I was ready about 3 hours to be like, yeah, let's go ahead and cut it early, but I was like, yeah, I can't do it. And then we actually got into a really good conversation, so we had a blast. We are once again, of course, live on the Nonsensical Network. As you see, scrolling below your screen, bio.link/Nonsensical Network. Benji, I got something. Look, I think Blaze made this. Check it out, buddy. We got the shows right there. Mondays, Men Caring for Men. Tuesdays, Glick's House of Music. Wednesdays, What the Fuck News. This Thursday, a new show. Whose Argument Is It Anyways? I can't wait. Fridays, of course, Sports Unplugged with Stephen Jarvis. Saturdays, of course, is the staple, the Nonsensical Nonsense Open Door Challenge, where you can come up and, as long as you keep your wiener in your pants, you're okay. And the races marks to yourself. And then, of course, Sunday, we're back again with Jeff's Garage. It is our first Sunday show. I'm kind of excited. I like the idea of the Sunday show for the simple fact we can kind of do our own thing. We don't have to rush. We can, if we go over, no big deal. We go start early, no big deal. And we can kind of build our own schedule. So
I just let the people know that there's probably going to be some pre-recorded shows, only because of my travel.
Well, your travel, and I'm sure once my wife gets back, she was like, yeah, I don't want to be in the house on a fucking Sunday. Like, let me call Benji real quick. We'll pre-record and launch it at the correct time. Yep. So we are going to start once again with one of my new favorite subjects, do you need this tool? And Benji, I got to say, I'm dubbing this we all need this tool.
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
calling it now because this is, you work construction, you technically work. Do you wear hard hats while you work?
If I'm on a
legitimate job
if I'm
site?
on someone's personal house,
right?
But if it's a construction site, then rules apply.
Now, do you wear a hat? Do you wear a hat?
Every single day.
Okay. Well, I got something for you, buddy. Check this out.
This is just your standard hat, very common on the job site today. This is a nail essentially trying to replicate somebody standing up in like an attic space. So you can see
you have a balloon under that.
I do have a balloon in this head form, yes. So what happens is when somebody stands up, you can hear it pop the balloon. Obviously, that's not going to feel very good. But us now, what we have with the bump cap, it's going to protect the head better. This is going to be an ideal solution for anybody in the automotive, in service, on your resi sites. Anybody not currently required or needing the use of a hard hat that's currently wearing a hat, this will be a great solution for them still to get the style that they're used to, but adding protection.
This is your brain, people.
This is your brain. All right. Taking that same exact standing up position, you can see completely protected.
So this is the Milwaukee hat that will be available
January 2025. It'll be $34.97 in stores, and it's going to come with a really nice inside comfortable liner to provide nice side protection as well as really comfortable top protection.
Or you can get the shell to put in your own hat.
Yes, correct.
For $15.
$15, yep.
January 2025.
There you go. $15, dude. Right? $15. You don't have to wear a stupid hard hat because we all know hard hats. I mean, you can get the cool ones that look like cowboy hats, but they make you sweat. A hard hat will make you sweat more than anything. That liner that goes in a hat, for $15, you can wear your hat and you're ready to rock. I think this is a wonderful thing. I think we all need it. You know, because Glick and I, you know, we grew up, we went to school for construction, which is hilarious. But we were always getting in trouble because our hard hats would fall off or we'd throw them across the room or whatever. And yeah, there were injuries as always, no matter what. But this, you could just literally wear a hat and rock it out.
Yeah.
The only thing I want to know is if it's would be approved by OSHA. I don't see why it wouldn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure. And I mean, that is a major brand, obviously. So I'm sure they're in the know when it comes to those kind of regulations because they produce tools that need to meet qualifications and strict regulations in all 50 states. So I would assume they would be in the know of things like that. So I would
Milwaukee's not one to just throw something out there.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm sure they've done R&D. But like I said, for $15, starting January next year, you can buy that.
The only thing I wish that maybe like the second iteration they should come out with is some type of lighting system on the hat.
Agreed.
Because I just think if you're going to build a hard hat that is diverse as that, why not build a lighting
or
system?
At least have well, you can buy those little brim lights.
Well, I wear those all the time, right? Like all the time. But I don't wear a hard hat very much. But but if you were to get a hard hat and then slab one single, the light sits way up here, and then you have to like angle it. But if you put it on the brim, they make a ton of those on the brim already.
Well, I wonder if the second iteration they would have like a clip that goes to the front of your brim, so you can clip it onto the brim. That's not a bad.
Maybe.
I'll call Milwaukee. I'll get it fixed.
And then I think the third iteration they need to make the 12-ounce can holders.
Yes. Oh, 100%. That way you can go right from the job site right to the track, and have the beer ready to rock.
Correct.
But yeah, I think it's a great little toy. I think, well, not even a toy. I mean, as much as I'm not the safety guy, I bought one hard hat in my life. I worked on dozens of job sites. I refuse to wear a hard hat because you can't see after 15 minutes because your eyes are sweating. The sweat's running into your eyes, and then you got to take the damn thing off anyway. So with that, it literally looks like it looks like it would like the inside lining of like a baseball helmet. You know what I mean? So it's obviously smaller and it looks comfortable. Hard hats are 90% of the time uncomfortable.
Well, that's pretty cool that Toyota, I'm reading Connor's chat, Toyota already had that in place. And maybe that's where they kind of linked up and got a big business like that to kind of like do the research for them, kind of like trial and error. That's
Agreed.
funny, Connor. Everyone always does. So you know what? I'm actually a big proponent of preaching safety and doing it myself because I do have
I'm terrible
guys
at
underneath me. Yeah, but me being in
I will send you a clip of me using my homemade table saw that is literally 2 feet off the ground and I'm hovering over it. It's literally.
I'm in a position of power, so I have to practice what I preach.
I would be terrible at that because I'm like, yeah, you'll be all right. Walk it off.
Sure. But you know what's really cool is like Toyota
got 9 more. You're okay.
already has that in place, and then you have like BMW down in Spartanburg, South Carolina, brought in the exoskeletons for your hips down, so you can squat, cool. And then it locks in place, and when you go stand up, it releases. So because they run 12-hour shifts down there. So like these big plants do stuff like that to kind of do the R&D for these companies.
Well, yeah, and I wonder if Milwaukee reached out to Toyota and were like, "Here, try this out for a year."
I would be surprised if companies aren't doing that.
Right,
because
like
it's a way for both companies to kind of win, right?
Right, and wearing a hard hat, especially in a plant, it's hot, it's muggy, and then you got to wear a hard hat too. Ugh, gross. I quit. I quit already. Like I haven't even started. I quit.
The starting pay's pretty good, Jeff.
No, I get that, but safety gear. Whatever happened to the time where like, oh, he got ran over by the tractor, he'll be all right. He just looks like Connor. Don't worry about it.
That's true. That's true. You can do a podcast for the rest of your life. That's hilarious.
Exactly.
That's funny.
When you fail in construction and you almost die, just start a podcast. You'll be fine.
What you do is you go sign a letter that you're not going to sue the company and become some type of management in the office. You'll be like, this is how we're going to handle this, boys.
Yeah. You guys do this to fund my podcast and we're good.
That's right.
There you go.
That's
$10,000 a month for life. I can live with that.
Sure. Me too.
But today's episode, we're going to do it a little bit different. We usually have a subject. Well, and I know it's not Wednesday, but we're doing kind of a news segment today. It's a little bit, so there's some new things out. There's some new cars out, some new toys. And we're going to start off with, as much as I wanted to hate it when you first brought it to me, I'm kind of enjoying seeing info about the Mustang GTD. So we're going to play this little quick video, and we're going to make it full screen. This is the GTD.
Favorite American car.
I agree. It's, I'm not mad at it. But this is at Woodward Festival of Speed. This is over in England.
Festival of Speed in
Goodwood,
Europe.
sorry.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's now correct me if I'm wrong. Is it or is it not? It's not a straight shot, but it's a curvy straight shot.
Correct.
It's not like a loop.
1.25 or 1.5 miles long.
Yeah. So, and you get to see the cornering, the handling, and of course, the best part, I think, is the sound. And I'm going to go ahead and crank this up.
This is not a little event. This is a
mega
event.
Has been going around since the 20s.
It's forever ago. And this is a huge event. This is always exciting and fun to see because people are bringing their brand new. You can't just be Jeff or I going there and getting on the starting grid. That's not how this happens over there. You have to be somebody to get a car on there. And they're always bringing the newest and latest tech out there. There's full-blown race cars all the way to super-duper old.
Well, when we talked about that, when we talked about that miniature V8, the video I showed was at Goodwood.
Yep.
Goodwood. So let's go ahead and watch this. This is a less than a minute clip of the GTD running through Goodwood Festival of Speed. Let's go ahead and check it out.
Come along. Oh my goodness! Now this is nuts.
This is, I think this is one of the Mustangs.
Oh, sound.
Some horsepower rear charge, got the gearbox in the back of it. It's 315,000 pounds worth of Ford Mustang. And they just wound everything up to 11, or maybe it was 12.
It is completely road legal as well. This track-ready supercar, those
That is pretty.
5.8 litre V8, 800 over 800.
You know, I like a blue car.
In this car, carbon fiber body.
I'm not mad at the color.
It's even.
So just so you know, this isn't the actual color of the car. This is a
It's
wrap.
funny because we're European and it's obviously American. And GTD, you think it's a diesel. Just listen to it. It's very clearly not a diesel. Supercharged V8 in it, 830 horsepower, rear gearbox. Wonderful thing. But yeah, they're now taking allocation.
It doesn't look like they're really opening it up.
I think it's lost in translation through the video.
Oh shoot! I just deleted the other video I had. Oh man, hold on one second. We've talked about the GTD in the past, and the problem with the GTD comes down to the price. It is a 300. Well, as much as I think the car is perfect, it is pricey. It's 300 plus K. But the next news we have is if you already have a Mustang and you want to replicate the power of the GTD, you can. And I have yet to read this. I just kind of read the title and skimmed through it. But this is Roush has came out with this beautiful supercharger that will take your GTD and add 330 more horsepower to it with 195 foot-pounds of torque added to it. That is insane. There it is, installed in the car. Now, like that, there it is, 325,000 for the GTD. Where you can buy this, where I don't see a price on it. Ooh, we got a video.
So basically, what this is this is how to get something close to the GTD, right?
Here you go. It's dual 80 millimeter throttle bodies feeding the system. That's not small. Like what would you say on a standard LS? Because I know the LS better than any motor. Was it like a 40 millimeter?
It's probably standard 30-40 millimeter through something like that standard.
So you're doubling it and then doubling it again.
Yep.
Because there's twin. And it goes into, this supercharger. And the supercharger, for those who don't know, supercharger is basically two interlocking fan blades that create the power, the air that goes into the intake and creates your boost. 13 PSI, buddy.
Yeah, it's not even bad. It's not.
That's
crazy.
Not terrible. Well, and my thing is like 13 PSI is not a lot. It's not going to destroy your motor. I've seen bigger, I've seen less. You can do 13 PSI with a turbo, but the beauty of a supercharger, it's all power all the time. It doesn't stop, so to speak. Where your turbos, it's got to boost. It's got to work up to that boost. This is just all boost. So that's your standard. What's the standard Mustang horsepower?
It's not much.
Like 300.
Yeah,
maybe
somewhere
4.
probably through there.
So you're adding another 300 horsepower to it. That's you got 600 horsepower for. They don't 900. Wait, $9,000.
I mean, I don't see much of a point unless you're putting it on like a GT350 or a GT500.
Agreed. This is not something you're gonna. Well, it's also imagine the Pontiac Aztek with it.
Yeah, I've seen that. I was getting ready to make a comment.
Shut up, Brian. He was giving me shit about the Aztek last night. This is not something your daily driver you throw this on. This is you're building a race car. You're building a track car.
Mustangs are supposed to be daily drivers, right?
And I understand that, but most people, if you're going to throw a Roush supercharger on your vehicle, you're not just going back and forth for groceries. You're gonna on the way to get groceries, you're gonna see somebody else and be like, yeah, I could take him. We've all been at that stoplight next to a car that's got a cam in it and be like, I could beat that. And then the wife goes, "Don't do it. Don't do it." And you're like, He winked at me. We have to race.
I think this is a smart move.
It's a smart move by Roush. Well, Roush has been putting out superchargers forever.
Yep, I think this is a smart move to try to tie it into the GTD, right? Like marketing.
Yeah, agreed.
I think it's super smart.
It got our attention.
It's only like a few hundred cars they're even going to make, like right? It's
per year.
No, I think they're done. I think it's like super limited. Like there's coins. Like Shmi 150 got one. It said 141. So the only way to get the coin is if you got an allocation to purchase the car. So this is an allocation only vehicle. So the only way to get the general public kind of involved on an allocated only car is to kind of throw some of the mods out there that make this car special to the general public, so you can put it on something like that.
Well, and
go for it, Brian. Then you can come on and talk to us about it.
Well, Brian, what you need to do is trade in that F-150 for that. Didn't they have that stock, the sleeper F-150 out? Have you seen this thing? It's basically, it looks like Brian's F-150, single cab, short bed, but it's got 600 horsepower. Have you seen this thing?
I
oh my God,
I got F-150s.
I know you don't. I'm not a big fan either, but
I think once the other guy gets my Ford 250 whatever van I got, it's like my van is awesome. But the company will buy me a brand new F-150.
So it's a 750 horsepower sleeper that you can buy for under $50K with the warranty.
2024.
Yeah, and it's
that's under 50K your price. That's not 50K in the United States.
Oh no, it's U.S. This is the U.S. site. I got a picture here.
What?
Yeah, these are U.S. numbers.
I didn't even know there was a $50,000.
705 horsepower, 46,998.
I didn't even know that
sleeper edition.
A $50,000 F-150 that
with 750 horsepower, 705 horsepower. Yeah, it's literally bone stock. It's like you buy the
work
cheap
truck with the
big
it's a
work truck
Gotcha.
with a big fuck off motor. I'm not mad.
That's interesting.
This thing came out like I'd say 6 months ago, something like that. One of the guys, what's that? McFarlane, the guy that does he builds those weird, stupid cars.
Yeah.
He's got that little. He bought a racetrack, and he actually bought one, and then added more power to it.
Well, that's what you do, right? When you have all the money, you take
exactly
something good and try to make it, or you take something great and try to make it greater.
Right, and what he did on his channel is he actually went and bought a stock Silverado, same spec as the F-150, and said, okay, what would it cost to build this Silverado to match the F-150? And with the price of the Silverado, obviously it was used. It was a year old, turned in. I think they spent right around $40K with the truck.
Okay, so very similar.
So you could kind of do both. I would of course go with the Chevy. I'm not the Ford guy.
Yeah, interesting.
Because I don't like dudes, but but yeah, it's one of those things. It's like if that Ford truck, it runs a Coyote, the 5.0 Coyote, same as the Mustang. So you could actually take that truck and throw that Roush supercharger on it, and then you got a GTD killer truck.
No.
Well, maybe not in quartering, but in top end. Because if you got 700, well, it's probably already got a supercharger on it, I'm assuming.
I still take the GDT.
I do too.
Because it has active aero. I mean, you have everything. This thing is like sports. Dude, did you see so there is no trunk or either in the front or the back of the Mustang, right? There's none.
Oh, really?
So gosh, man, I wish you would have looked at that other video I sent you. Or no, I didn't send you this. I should have like screen recorded and sent you. The suspension setup is so impressive in the GDT. It's so
impressive. It takes up all the trunk and all that shit.
No. They actually cut part of the cab out and bolted it in a plexiglass window, so you can like visually see
you can watch
working.
Nice.
Correct.
I like that because if you're driving, I'm gonna be staring through that little window. Look at that. You hit a bump, buddy. You know.
I mean, that's amazing, right? Like, who's been doing this forever? Ferrari, right? Ferrari's been doing it forever, and it's so cool to see. I guess Ferrari's biggest competition originally do something like this, and it's kind of like to me, it's kind of like a little bit of tip of the cap to your competitor a little bit.
Well, and here's my things. Like Ferrari's talking about going hybrid or EV. They're going to lose this race.
Is having to do that. It's not Ferrari. It's literally every car is going to have to go minimum hybrid. But it's how much longer can they keep the
playing with the toys?
Yeah. At a certain point, we're just going to get to a point where they either have to come up with a new fuel altogether for us to be able to keep the engine sound.
And I've said it a million times. If you give me a Tesla, I'll drive it for a week and then sell it. But I won't drive an electric car. I will, like, if 2025 they stop making gas-powered vehicles, I will not own anything past the 2024.
I totally get that where you're coming from. I, on the other hand, do not mind the electric. I haven't drove one, but as much as I drive, I want one.
Right, and understandably, but like for me, I don't go anywhere. I go to the store and back. I could do it in a scooter. But like if I'm going to go play, I don't want to do it in an electric vehicle.
Well, the whole point of electric is for people who enjoy vehicles. Mm-hmm. There's no motor.
There's nothing fun for it.
No, there's
nothing. Dodge has that new. I think it's a Charger that makes sounds. It's electric.
I don't know that new Corvette. Isn't there that new Corvette that's electric or whatever too? And I
think that was a rumor.
YouTube short on it. No, I mean there's some guy driving his yard. And it sounds like a freaking transformer, like when they like start spawning into the transformer. That's what it sounds like. I was like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah,
this is kind of weird.
The beauty of for people that like cars, and I love the sound of any motor. You don't get that with an electric car, and you can't do it with a stereo. I don't care who you are.
No, you can't. But you know why? So originally, when the electrics came out, there was no noise. You knew that, right?
Well, they put noise to it because it's stupid dangerous.
Correct. It was.
You're walking down the street. I come around in my electric vehicle. I'm gonna run you over, and you didn't know I was coming.
Correct. So they had to produce some type of noise, but it's all like BS noise, right? At the end of the day, it's as much as they try to push electric, and as big as F1, F2 style racing is in Europe. The full Formula E series is not hugely popular. Like you don't ever hear about it. It's never on YouTube. They're really cool.
I've seen a Formula E car. They had one here when my wife and I first got together. We were still dating at the time. They had a guy here with a Formula E car. They had like this big ecological. They showed all these new air conditioners and all that stuff. But they had an e-car there, and they were ripping it up and down the track. It was quick. I'm not mad at it, but it sounded like a washing machine. Like the bearings were going out on the washing machine.
It's
and I was like,
it's
just whines. It was almost like they had it whine just enough where it sounded like a supercharger, but there was no rumble after the supercharger. So it was like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's super weird. And then they're getting into like fan technology now. Is like you got, I don't know, Gordon Murray does like the fan technology. There's another single-seater car that just got done doing the hill climb not long ago, set a record. So doing fan technologies with I'm just not into the fan stuff either. Yeah, I get the point, but it's like something we're clearly And again, I want to do a
Something's
different
missing.
episode. I just recently just said this to you before we went live. I want to do an episode on cars back then and what we're
Versus
missing
now.
now on cars. And
Well,
I think,
it's like,
but I don't want to say too much because I do have.
and I get it. I have multiple comments about it. You know, you missed the field. You know,
correct.
You're not part of the car anymore. You're just a passenger, whether you're driving or not. And yeah,
words right out of my future podcasting mouth.
Agreed. From the Mustang GTD to something I'm kind of passionate about. You know, I do love my Chevy trucks and Chevy vehicles.
Can I touch something real quick before we move on?
Sure, please go ahead.
Okay,
sure.
So before the GTD came out, we had the new version of the Corvette, right?
Right.
And it was a radical change, right? Engine moved to the rear, very European, very Ferrari, very Lamborghini.
Lambo, very European, and I think it probably handles better.
I've never drove one. I liked it.
I haven't either, but
I think they look cool. But in my honest opinion, I think the Mustang did the European style better.
Agreed. It
looks more like an actual track car that you see racing on the circuits.
It looks like the next evolution of like a BMW or Mercedes. You know, that you know, with the wider body, you know, it doesn't compare body style to your Ferraris and Lamborghinis, but it looks like it, you know, obviously it would be faster, but it looks like you would set it next to a Mercedes and BMW. You know, that sedan style car, even though it's a two-door. And obviously Mercedes does have two-door, but it you know what I mean? It's like if you set it next to a Ferrari and a Lamborghini, it would look mildly out of place.
Correct.
You know, granted, Ferrari and Lamborghini are going to see nothing but taillights, but it does, like, if you're at a show, you're like, oh, look, a Ferrari. Oh, look, a Lamborghini. Oh, look, a Ferrari. Oh, what the fuck? Why is this? Who put this Mustang here? Shit should be over by the Mercedes and BMWs because it's still got that, you know.
What the word we're looking for is American muscle.
Well, agreed. But also when it comes to, when you look at Ferrari and Lamborghini, I always equate them to like a wedge of cheese. They're wedge. You know, they're
correct.
And
well, there's a specific design for them on their specific style roads.
Exactly. Where everything else is a chipped away brick. You know, it's not.
I agree with that.
Angular.
Correct. Yeah, I think we have to kind of pull back and look why they're like that. Is because our racing is another left turn here, right? That's our racing. So you don't have to be super sharp here and super sharp there, and this flat needs to go this way. You never had to do any of that. But they're racing over there, hilly, downhill, turn to the left, turn to the right, slopes, banks.
This is a real roller coaster kind of racing.
Correct. And I think that's why those cars appealed to Americans always, because they were so radically different than the big ass square bricks that we had over here. We didn't have to deal with it. It's another left turn here. So all you had to do was go really fast in a straight line and just hit your brake.
You know, if American cars are like trains, they go one direction straight, a few curves here and there. Where European cars are your roller coaster. You know, they're doing loops. They're the hard right turns, up hills, down hills. It's that's kind of like the perfect analogy for American cars versus European cars. Yeah, they can both be really quick, but the track and where you're using them is not the same.
Yep. It's not the same. And that's kind of why I give the nod to Mustang over the Chevy. And I'm a Ford guy, but I'll give credit wherever credit is due.
Oh, 100%.
Chevy had to recreate a whole new car.
Yeah, they couldn't.
Make it look
exactly
European, to where Ford tweaked their body to make it compete with the Europeans.
And you know what the Ford did is a trend. They're starting a trend. You know, when you modify your car, you know, the biggest thing right now is to wide body your car.
Yep.
And Dodge did it first as a production vehicle. They got the Demon wide body and stuff like that. But Ford took it to the next fucking level.
Yep.
They said, "Oh, you wanted to see a wide body? Well, here you go." And then they go ahead and made, they widened, they put in the vents like Ferrari and Lamborghini does.
Yeah.
Because
AMG,
they're like, well, we could put in a panel
Valkyrie.
here, but let's go ahead and put in a vent and make it functional.
Yep.
You know, for the longest time, Ford, I think it was the first 2 generations of the GT350s, the vents were functional. And then the powers that be were like, yeah, you guys can't have that many vents. It costs too much. So the vents were non-functional. They just look cool. Where, if I'm not mistaken, on GTD, all those vents are functional.
Everything is functional on that car.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And
I think it has active DRS that you can hit the button and turn DRS on during the straightaways, close it for downforce on the turns. I mean, this car is a 100% American European race car.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I categorize this car. It's an American.
Well, you know what it
European
is?
race car.
I have the perfect example. It's taking a BMW or a Mercedes hybrid and putting an American muscle in it.
So I agree with what you're saying, but I'm going to switch cars. I'm going to go Porsche.
Okay, yeah. It's taking your Porsche you got there, rip the motor out, throw a fucking LS in it, and call it a day, or a Coyote, and call it a day. You know, you got the handling, you know, and Ford did something that American cars don't do. They worried about weight distribution on this car.
Transaxle, baby.
The transaxle in the back, that's some European shit like you read about. That's not something.
I think they literally took the fucking playbook out of
yeah, they stole somebody's fucking design plans and said, "Yeah, hey, we're gonna borrow this. Don't worry."
Yeah, we're going to compete against you guys, and we're going to win. I really hope that they introduce this car to the NASCAR market on a road course here.
Agreed.
I really want them to do a NASCAR event on a road course with this car, like
or Le Mans,
it'd be the pace car. Like I really want it to be the pace car.
I think that would be cool. From cars, we're gonna go to trucks here real quick because, as I said, I'm more of a Chevy guy. As you said, credit where credit's due. I think the GTD is a great car. I was kind of skeptical at first, and you've kind of changed my mind. I'm okay with that. The only problem I have with it now is it still has a Ford badge on it. But Chevy has answered Ford's call finally, and we were talking about this before the show. They have finally answered Ford's call when it comes to the Raptor. Let's go ahead and watch this quickie video.
Not only the Raptor, but the TRX.
The TRX as well.
The new 700 horsepower 2024 Chevy Silverado Fox Factory Edition pickup is the Ram TRX and Raptor fighter with a bow tie badge that everyone has always wanted. If someone were to ask me, Brian, just imagine the perfect Silverado 1500 build. I think this would be it. For starters, the 6.2-liter L87 V8 is Whipple supercharged and precision tuned for a total output of 700 horsepower and 640 pound-feet of torque. And it sings its song through a Borla dual exhaust system, but believe me when I tell you that the power increase is just scratching the surface. Because up front, it's got a Baja Kits pre-runner long travel suspension system, providing 14.5 inches of front travel. It comes along with billet upper control arms, a build-specific Fox steering stabilizer with an HD steering linkage system, RCV axle shafts, and you've got Fox Factory Race Series 3.2 live valve internal bypass coilovers with recirculating reservoirs that instantly adjust to the terrain that you're driving on.
They're keeping up with those.
Out back is
He
a Baja
passes him here in a minute.
setup working with the Fox 3.2s, giving you 15.5 inches of vertical travel. It uses 2 upper control arms, a rear track bar, and billet aluminum trailing arms. This thing is no joke. The rear axle is a semi-float Dana 60, fit with an ARB air locker and a 373 gear set, allowing you to have the option to have an open diff for everyday driving. Or with the press of a button, you can go fully locked for off-roading. Inside the cabin, you've got Fox's new live valve shock management system with pre-programmed damping algorithms, and these can easily be selectable through the dash-mounted controller. Of course, all done on the fly.
I don't want
You've
to play this
also
whole
got an
video,
auxiliary switch panel, and you can control things like your locker, the LED.
So, like I said, that video gets kind of long, but that's really cool. I mean, I think what they did a lot of R&D. You know, and now
That
I
bed
think
looks tiny though.
it does. It's like a 4-foot bed, 4.5 foot. But now there's no real price on it that I can see. It says
I would
Fox
really like
Factory.
to see that truck like in a straight up real head to head with the Ford Raptor R.
Agreed. Price. So the Fox Factory price.
The TRX, I really don't care about. Kind of TRX is kind of its own thing.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. I found the problem with this truck.
Okay, here we go. It's going to be super. I'm going to guess 169.99.95 or whatever. What?
$209,999.
No fucking way.
That is pricey. However,
can you look up and see what the price of a Ford Raptor R is?
Oh yeah.
Please, sir. While you do that, I'm going to go grab a beer really super quick.
R price. So the Ford Raptor 2024 price is and 111.
See, it's just how can you? I can almost get 2 Ford Raptors R for the price of 1 Chevy.
Yeah,
it's not looking too good.
But yeah, it's not looking good. But this sounds like very much like when you buy that. Have you seen the Shelby? There's that Shelby F-150, the Super Snake F-150.
Have
you seen this thing? I don't know. Well, you know, you're not buying it from Ford. You're buying it from Fox Factory.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Truck. What is the price? I can't spell today. The truck. Cobra price. Shelby F-150 price is $127,350. That's still cheaper. And I'm going to show the watching audience the price of the view of that. So this Shelby, no, it's no problem. So this is the Shelby F-150. And like I said, it's what I said it was 127. And once again, you're not buying it from Ford. You're buying it from Shelby America. And just like that Fox Factory Silverado, you're not buying it from Chevy. You're buying it from Fox Factory. So what they do is just like they go out and buy you a 4x4 truck, and then they add all this shit to it. So I wonder if you get a little money back if they sell off the parts. Just curious.
I don't. What is Chevy's goal on this? This doesn't make any sense financially.
Well, financially, it does not make sense. It's, you know, I think it comes down to brand loyalty. Like, money aside,
at a certain point,
I'm buying that Chevy.
Super loyal when you're paying almost 50. Well, yeah, right at 50%.
But like, as much as I would love to have the Ford Raptor R or the TRX, I'd rather have the Chevy.
That sucks to be you because I'm going to have 2 Ford Raptor Rs.
Yeah, and you'll see both my taillights as I pass you.
No.
You and your wife as I fly by you in my Chevy Fox Factory. You're just looking at taillights on the back of my Silverado.
I'm going to go. This is great that you think that, but then I'm going to go and I'm going to rebuttal that by saying there's a reason why it took them so long to come out with something.
Well, and that's something we were talking about before we started. Why did it take Chevy so long? And once again, this isn't a Chevy truck. This is a Fox Factory truck. This is not something you buy off the Chevy showroom like you do the Raptor or at the Ford showroom or the TRX when you go to Dodge. This is a separate company.
And it's not like Baja hasn't been popular forever.
Agreed.
So again, why has this taking 5, 7, 10 years to come out with this? Makes
agreed.
No
well, you know what?
sense.
I think when it comes down to Chevy's more of like, hey, you need a truck. You don't need a fucking race car. You just need a truck to go pick up shit. Like, in all honesty, how many Raptors do you see on the road? How many of them actually go off road and do Raptor shit?
Well, the ones I see, none, because
Right.
they're always parked in someone's house. But I literally 2 weeks ago, I seen a Raptor R at the person's house I'm working on. But it was a little dirty. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, but it's dirty as in, like yeah, exactly. It's, you know, a lot of people that buy these trucks or like, I get, like you said, we talked about this with the GTD. How many people will actually put it on the track when they buy one?
I really hope a fair amount do.
I agree.
Well, how about this? I'll say that might be a different. That might not be a good apples to apples
comparison, right?
Yeah, that might not be a good one because those people that can afford that probably already have cars that they track anyways.
Right, but let's say you know, Chevy has a Camaro. Well, it's actually Hennessy made the Camaro Exorcist. It's 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah, well, they have their Dodge Ram. They have their Ford Raptor. They have their Corvettes. They do.
Right, but how many people are buying those Hennessy cars and actually using them for what they are?
And I will say I agree with that analogy because you almost never see any YouTube videos. As much cool stuff that Hennessy does. Why is this an American company we hear about?
And that's what it is. Like, I think Chevy is like, yeah, how many people are going to use this for what we're building it for? Why build it? Now, I don't necessarily agree with it because, don't get me wrong, I'll buy one of these Fox factories if I had the money tomorrow. I'd be like, yeah, give me two. You know, fuck it.
I don't know, man. Something just seems really fishy with this price. It's almost like they've messed up somewhere else. So they're trying to justify this price by saying, hey, we've done all this stuff, but they're trying to make up.
Well, I think what it is Fox Factory's not Shelby America.
Something just seems weird, man.
I've never really heard of them.
Fox, oh no, they're huge. I know exactly.
No, Fox Shocks I've heard of, but Fox Factory?
I'm sure that's who.
As a company?
Yeah, I'm probably okay with that. Again, the price is 50% higher. That doesn't even make sense. Like, to me, something is off right here. Like, someone needs to make up some money somewhere.
Right? Yeah. There's an accounting.
I don't know. It's like I don't know. Something just is a little different. But I'm not here. I mean, I could be completely wrong. Again, I'm not like super diverse.
However,
I just know Toyota and Ford kind of run the show.
Agreed. If you want an off-roader, you don't want maybe I don't know the price yet, and it probably showed in the video. If you want an off-roader, granted, I get it. It's not a Ford. It's technically another Ford, but I think it's just the Bronco body. This little toy looks fun.
Vanderhall, the company that gave us the 3-wheel racer, is giving us a brand new off-road spec car called the Brawley GT. They posted the coolest Instagram promo video ever, and I took a screenshot from it. This thing is planted. It's like the coolest video. These are like off-road Baja Racers Brawley GT. So there's multiple different configurations, but I don't know how these work. 360 foot-pounds of torque. Are these electric? Here's where they're made. I mean, just off-road tires all day. Here are all the other electric vehicles that they make. I just realized that this is an electric off-roader. I think that's my ick, electric off-road cars. I gotta say, it looks like a Jeep. It is handsome, and it's just cool. I'm not sure what the market is like on a jump-in EV.
I don't think that guy knows he's talking about because he was reading the foot-pounds of torque, and there was horsepower right next to it. 350 horsepower.
Yep.
It kind of looks like a Bronco and a Jeep mated.
Yep. There's probably some 3D carbon
42 grand.
How much?
Yeah. 42 grand.
That's interesting.
I don't know.
I mean, it's chopped all up though. I mean, it is it's very little Ford left in it.
Yeah, if it is, like I said, when you look at that back view of it, it doesn't really look like a Ford Bronco. And the grill looks like it's a Jeep.
So I'm a huge fan of
kind of their own body.
Car. I'm a huge fan of the 3-wheel car. I really like them a lot. I think they're too expensive. for what they are, but I like them a lot.
But, but once we're going to go back to GM, you and I talked before the show. You're more of a GM guy.
No,
I like a
public
Chevy
GM
badge.
versus
GMC.
I'm GMC over Chevy, but I'm Ford over both.
Right, which is so odd. I don't,
because I'm a huge 250 fan. Like I don't really. I'm like whatever about the 150, but my fandom.
150 is kind of like your starter class.
Yeah.
But back in the, I want to say 70s and early 80s, you could buy a Blazer that was as big as the Ford Bronco, OJ style Bronco. And they also had the GMC Jimmy. Well, GMC has partnered with a company and made a new Jimmy. There we go.
It's back. If you've been missing the iconic era of the K5 Blazer / GMC Jimmy with the removable top, now is your chance to go out and get a new one. This thing is just like the original except with a modern pop to it. The build takes a GMC Sierra AT4 and transforms it into the machine that nostalgic dreams are made of. It even brings back the likes of the two-door SUV, something that's almost non-existent in the market these days. The idea starts off with the typical long bed Sierra. It then shortens the wheelbase and gets rid of the pickup truck bed in the favor of rear seats. From there, it gets a custom removable top, very reminiscent of the old school Blazer. The GMC truck debuted at SEMA 2022 with Flat Out Autos, who also brought the idea back to the trade show for 2023 with the KR2, a similar concept built from a Silverado. Unfortunately, there doesn't seem to be any rumblings that General Motors could bring something like this themselves to mass produce, but I have to say that if they did, it would most certainly be a very cool competitor to something like the Ford Bronco. I mean, this custom shop managed to make a way cooler Blazer than the actual one that Chevy currently puts out. Car Scoops does report that the actual SEMA build is heading to Mecum for auction on July 27th if you want to get your hands on this thing. If you want a modernized version of what the Blazer should be in 2024, Flat Out Autos has you covered.
There you go. Flat Out Autos. You can call them up and take your single cab short bed over and they'll make you that. Now there is no price because they built it for SEMA, but that's pretty cool. I'm in.
Yeah. It's the redneck with paychecks kind of situation, right?
Agreed.
The old saying, I'm trying to keep up with the Joneses. There is no more Joneses anymore. No one wants to compete with each other. It's I've got this amount of money and I want something one of one anymore.
Right.
And I don't hate it. So all we're looking for is a company to produce something standard, and then once we get it, because people have so much freaking money nowadays, they're like, I just need you just to produce like how it is,
a couple
and
thousand
then I
of these,
will 100% make it my own.
Right. And
you can do that with everybody except Ferrari. That's a no-no with Ferrari.
Yeah, they won't let you. Let's be honest.
You get a letter in the mail.
Yeah, and they'll probably take your Ferrari. But it something like this, like the new Blazer, I'm not mad at. It's actually nice. They're actually really huge, those new Blazers. I actually looked at buying one, but they're just pricey. Pricey in the fact where I was like, I got to make payments. I can't, if I can pay for something in cash, I'll buy it right then and there. That's how I buy. But I think this is how the Blazer should look. Go back to like, what was it? A couple years ago, they did the retro styling vehicles. Like you had your PT Cruisers and stuff like that. This is the retro styling we need. That it's modern, but it's still
zipping my lips. And the reason is because I want this on an episode that we
agreed.
Then versus now. So I don't want to say too much.
Understood.
I have a lot to say on things that honestly we're missing out on.
Oh, I agree. But this is something like, I think if you have, like, I watched a video today. Like, you're a big Ferrari guy, and I'm going to send you this video privately. It's not, I would show it here, but it's like a 20-minute video.
Okay.
I'm like, yeah, we don't have that kind of time. But, there, for instance, you want a Ferrari. And,
yes.
And there is a couple of guys that I watched, and it's obviously a goof on the title. The title is My Girlfriend Left Me Because I Didn't Have a Car. And so he built a supercar.
Yep.
And him and his buddies, literally in some shop in like Indonesia or something, they're in the middle of fucking nowhere, or Singapore or Thailand or whatever, and they built a LaFerrari.
Yep.
Now, granted, it runs a Toyota Micra motor or something. It's not
doesn't know that.
but it is. These guys did it in a way where they built the mold out of clay. They built a frame. It's all fiberglass, and it looks. The only one thing I saw about it, and I'll tell you about it, but I want you to comment when you see it on the video. They built the entire suspension. The one thing they didn't do, and I was like, really, is when they did the brakes, they didn't take the Toyota brakes off the car. They built a full hub. They made their brakes out of a solid piece of steel disc. And I was like, really? Really, really, really?
No cross drilling, no slotting.
No. It looked like they took a piece of steel, drew a circle on it, cut the fucker out, and bolted it on. And I was like, whoa. And it, like, huge red flag. I was like, yeah, I'm not riding that car.
Get to about 100 miles an hour, hit the brakes, and then watch it just melt together.
Watch it. That's exactly what I thought. Yeah, it's solid. But they used the brake calipers from the Toyota, but they made a bigger disc. So
yeah, I know the people you're talking about. They built a Bugatti.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know who you're talking about.
It's not quite a time lapse. It is a time lapse over multiple days.
Correct.
And it's just music. They don't talk. But I was like, you know what? That would be something fun to do. But the one thing where they lost me, I was like, where did they get the Ferrari tire rims?
There's a lot of things like that. I was just like, where are they getting the headlights, the emblems?
No, the really cool thing, they built the headlight, the taillights. They molded them using with epoxy. That clear epoxy that you put on, like when people make those river tables.
Yeah.
They used that. And they built a mold out of this because where they are, they get red clay. You add water to it and it becomes clay, like you milled, like when car manufacturers design a new car. So they got that.
What they did is they built that wire framing, and they put the clay over it, and then they cast the
right, and then they shape it, and then fiberglass. Exactly.
Correct.
And the only thing that wasn't like, they used the motor, and I think they used the transmission off the Toyota. Everything else they built. And I was like, that's
I'm assuming
impressive.
Toyota Camry, right?
I think so. It's like a little Toyota Camry.
That was in the new Lotus.
Yeah. Well, but they literally built their own rear axle, and I was like, calm down there, Chief. That's not something you just built. And I think they used the steering rack off the Toyota because they did have a steering rack. They took the old steering wheel, cut it up so it was just the metal, and then built the foam on it and everything. And it looked amazing.
Oh yeah, they do a great job.
And the one question I had throughout the whole thing, what did they spend?
They don't really say that, do they?
They don't. And I would say, they used fiberglass mat. And fiberglass mat, you can buy like a pound of it for like $4. But they obviously use a lot of it. And like I said, the one thing that blew my mind, what they did is they used that epoxy that you do those river tables with. It's clear. They added a little red tint to it and built a mold out of clay and poured the resin in it and then polished the shit out of it so the taillights work. And I was like, that's really cool. It was fucking thick. They could drop this thing. It's not going to break. And I was like, that's really, because if you buy a Ferrari taillight, you just spent your wad.
Yep.
So they didn't really, they showed how they made the headlights, but they made them look like the Ferrari headlights. It was, I want to say it's like the LaFerrari. But the one thing that lost me, the yellow and black one they made, and the one thing that I was perfect. I was like, you know what? I'm in. Until they put that solid piece of steel that looked like they cut it off an I-beam to make the brake. And I was like, whoa, I'm not riding in that car. Up until there, I was like, I'm in. I was like, you know, how hard it is to go grab a disc brake off a Ford F-150 or something and throw it on there, you know? But that's kind of one of those things. A lot of people are doing things with this, you know, that Chevy Silverado and stuff like that. If you find the right amount of guys, you can just build your supercar.
Yep.
And if you know, granted, I wouldn't use a Toyota, or I would put an LS or a Coyote in it and then put proper brakes on it, and you would have had a really cool car. Passing standards is kind of I'm sure
You're not
over
taking
in
it to a car
Cambodia.
show. You're going just around.
Yeah, you're just going to go
take it to a
bomb
car
around.
show. It's done deal.
It's gonna, yeah. Everybody's gonna be like, yeah, dude, you built it. But if you show up like, yeah, I built this, like the guy we watched, he built that Countach replica in his in his basement. If you show up and say, yeah, this is a LaFerrari, I bought it. Everybody's like, yeah, sure you did, buddy. But if you say, I built this from scratch in my garage, people go, you know what, dude, you did a fucking amazing job. And they built it to, you know, normal scale of the LaFerrari, but they used a die-cast model to build it. Like they're sitting there measuring stuff with calipers off the die-cast model, and I was like, you're putting a lot of trust in those die-casts, because when Hot Wheels and other people make the die-cast, they over-exaggerate so that it fits. Once you make it bigger, that over-exaggeration looks, whoa, that looks weird.
Yeah,
and
the
they just
Ferrari looked a touch long.
It did, but
in the rear section.
Well, the one thing that really drove me nuts, they didn't use like cold rolled or like chromoly tubing. They just used square tubing.
Correct.
And I was like, yeah, like I'm not going to hit a lot of bumps with that. I'm not going to super go very fast, but to sit in my garage and stare at it, all day long. It was perfect.
Sure.
But driving it long distance, I'll drive it to the store and back, 20, 40 feet. With those brakes, I was just like that. Those are going to warp real fast. And if they're mildly off center, like these guys didn't use a lathe for anything. They just cut out a circle. And I was like, poof, got some trust. Like I don't trust myself to bolt something together if I'm going to ride on it. I'm going to have somebody else check my work. These guys are just like, yep, that'll work. And I was like, oof, that's impressive.
Maybe they learned a lot building that Bugatti the first time.
Well, and they have a couple of cars that they've built.
Correct.
And I don't think, I'm sure they probably drive them around, but they're not hitting high speeds. They're cruising like you do your Honda. You just
correct.
But once again, the brake thing, I was just like, oof, that's asking for problems. But it's that whole credit where credit's due. They built a beautiful looking car. If you actually like took a suspension off of a good car and put on that thing, I'm in. I'm ready to go. And built a decent frame for it. But that's pretty much our show. I'm going to quickly play part of our intro, outro, and we're going to say our goodbyes. So we'll be right back.
Hey, Lori, what in the hell are you doing in there? Is she gonna ride with you?
Mind your own business, John.
Yeah, she's going with me. You take care of yourself, man.
She was in a burn rubber and making motors blow. So what the school asked her just how fast she liked to go. She said, how many kids catches you got where it counts? I told her on a 25-inch, broke my motor mount. She's a hot rod whore. Hot rod whore. Hot rod whore. Hot rod whore. Hot rod ain't enough for her. She lives 3 or 4. She's a hot rod whore. Hot rod whore. Hot rod whore. Hot rod whore. But I'm in my lots of fours. She's a hot rod whore. That head
There it is. Benji, what do you got to tell the people?
Well, if Ford did not send you a token, just remember, Roush will be more than happy to sell you a supercharger to get you your version of the GTD.
You know, I want to get those Cambodian guys to. I want to give them a Mustang and have them build me a GTD and put that Roush motor in.
Give them 6 weeks and 2 tons of clay. And you'll have it.
But once again, we are on the Nonsensical Network. You can check us out at bio.link/nonsensical network. And one more thing, and we keep forgetting to bring this up. We do have T-shirts available.
Yep.
And hats and all that fun stuff. It is Jeff's Garage Podcast. I have a banner here for it somewhere.
Yep. I got 3, and I wear my 3 quite often.
If you go to bio.link/JeffGAR, you can actually see them. And
definitely go check it out, people. There's some good stuff on there.
Let me go ahead back to this. I thought I had a link for it. That was wrong. Whoops, click that wrong. Get rid of that. But yeah, you said the shirts fit pretty good too.
Yeah, I like my shirts. Like the 3 I got, I wear them often. Probably the blue one I wear the most. That's actually got our logo
on it.
Oh man, I wear that shirt all the time.
I
would say definitely once a week.
I'm actually there's a place down here they do. They're going to put the logo, on the back of my jean jacket.
Oh, there you
I'm
go.
Gonna do that. Yeah, I just got to take it down there and
put it on there.
Yeah, like a screen printing kind of thing. And of course, there's the link if anybody wants to go ahead and click on that, or might not do
Screenshot it, save it, click on it.
Yeah,
do the thing. We appreciate that. Also,
there it is. There it is.
That listens.
Jeff's-garage-podcast.printify.me/products, and you go. That's a mouthful. You can actually go see the T-shirts. That is a mouthful. I need to make a QR code for that.
How can people get in touch with us directly, though?
Excellent question. So we do have a Jeff's Garage email.
Okay.
Somewhere. Here it is. It's Jeff's Garage Podcast at gmail.com. Send us some ideas for a show. Send us some pictures of your rides. I want to do an episode where we critique or at least show up people's rides. Make sure you put your this is Bob's car. Bob does this or whatever. And we could kind of talk about your car. And
and if you can't remember that long link, we can email that directly to you. So you can support the show. We greatly appreciate that. We definitely want your ideas. If you're
100%.
really into a topic, like, oh, you guys haven't touched on this, let us know. Then we can definitely talk about it. We're always looking for more ideas.
Yeah, I'm slowly running out, but I slowly find more as well.
Correct.
So yeah, that's the end of our show tonight, folks. As always, get out to your garage, go do some work. Have some fun. Bye.
Later, people.